Hi, it's Trixie, and today I'm going to tell you exactly how to become a contestant on the television program RuPaul's Drag Race. Hi, it's Trixie. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, wow, where have you been? So I was gonna start the year strong, and then I did this. No, I thought we could start the year strong. I feel like this is the year of, we all can see the meteor coming toward Earth, right? And I think this is radical, but I think it's a reason to be wild. High in the sky, pursue every passing imagined fancy for yourself. And I thought, what do I really know about? I do know about how to successfully get on RuPaul's Drag Race. People ask me this all the time. Drag queens ask me this. Actually, I'm gonna be honest. Drag queens never ask me, what can I do to get on Drag Race? They say, what can you do to get me on Drag Race? Drag queens are always like, I'm unwilling to do anything different. Can you make it happen for me? Which I totally get. I also have that mentality. I'm not a casting director. I don't work for World of Wonder. I'm obviously not RuPaul, although we do have the exact same measurements. I'm not an expert at anything other than I might know a little more than the average person about reality television or being on it or casting or whatever. So I just thought, as a humble person who you probably met from this incredible television program that I'm in no way affiliated with at this moment, people do want to know, is there a secret? Is there a tip? What did you do? And the truth is, everybody who's ever been on Drag Race up to this point has done the same thing. They've gone through the same process. So I'm gonna tell you about what the process is like. I'm gonna tell you about some of my personal strategies that I think you could implement. And I'm gonna tell you basically some golden rules that I think apply to casting across the board, especially with something like reality television, where you're not auditioning for an existing character. You're sort of auditioning yourself as your own character as an option. You know what I mean? I did some research, I read some articles. So if you're an aspiring dragoon who would like to take your drag on the biggest stage in the world, this video is for you. And if you're just some hoe watching this video who likes to know what the cross-dressers are talking about, this video is also for you. If you're some gay guy who watches Drag Race and says, I could do that, the truth is you probably could. I mean, drag queens, we love to act like we are, jumping out of helicopters and stuff, but like the truth is, you probably could get on Drag Race. The truth is you probably could. Gay guy at home, gay guy number one, the truth is you probably could. And don't forget this, drag queens are nothing if not pioneers and multi-hyphenates. Everything about what I'm about to tell you, the principles of being successful in this endeavor really leak over to everything else in life. Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Rocket Money. New year, new vibe, new us. In some ways, same me. Same, not always great behaviors, but I'm always interested in fixing my financial situation. With money, it's very easy to operate from a place of don't look, because if I don't pay attention, it's not happening. But I'm gonna tell you, nothing of that improves when you look away. All of this can be so daunting, and I'm telling you, having a magical tiny business partner in your pocket with Rocket Money makes so much of this less mysterious. Rocket Money helps you see all of these things from like a bird's eye view. You can look at your income, your spending, and not just your spending, you can look at like a lovely layout of, okay, that's my rent. This is how much I spent on dining experiences. This is how much I spent on travel, food, bills, my cell phone, internet. Because honestly, I feel like as the world goes on, there's so many weird secret ways that money is like going places and we don't even know. For example, I am the type of person, I can't tell you how many times I've been on like a cable network on a TV show and I don't have that network, so I wanna watch it. So I get the free trial of the streaming service and then months later find out that I've been secretly paying for it. Rocket Money, if nothing else, is a magic trick for getting you in touch with all those secret ways you are accidentally subscribed to things. Budgeting, things like planning, things like having a goal. I want to put away this much every month for whatever reason. Implementing those things is so much easier where you can like see and touch the breakdown of your money. I've been on Rocket Money for a long time. I love Rocket Money. Rocket Money is free to download. That's how I got it. When I got it, it was free to download. And you can pivot to like from the trial to like a premium experience. And that's where you really get to see what is going on with this money that I work for. Go to rocketmoney.com/Trixie Mattel to get started for free. You can also scan the QR code or click the link in my description. Can I be honest with you guys? I did not come from a background where we had a lot of money. And I think part of the way the world is set up is because they don't want any of us to learn how to financially take care of ourselves. And I think we should change that by learning more ourselves, don't you? This is your life. This is your money. And I think we should just be in touch with what's going on with it. Okay, back to that video. To my knowledge, I don't think anybody's ever done Drag Race without completing an application, an audition video, you sign a legally binding contract, and have a series of interviews, background checks. Like, there's a whole process we all go through before you apply. There's a lot you should think about. I think the most important thing I want to put on you today, embody some serious main character energy here. I know that it's delusion, but frankly, I like my drag queens delusional. Frankly, when my drag queens in my world get in trouble for being huge liars, I don't care. I think this is the best job to fully fabricate ideas, thoughts, and feelings and just put them out there. Because guess what? We all have fake names and walk around with suitcases full of disguises. It's not like we're the notary public. So I think we should all take a big whiff of our own bullshit when we're gonna get in drag. I firmly believe in that, okay? Drag Race is not really an application. It is a high stakes pitch. You are pitching something. Somebody says, I'm hungry, and you're standing in their kitchen and you're telling them what you make. Your best dish, the thing you make the best, and you're gonna make it sound as good as possible. You're not gonna fabricate, but you are gonna be like, this is the best things about it, right? And I know that because I'm kind of a barefoot Contessa, meaning sometimes I do YouTube without shoes on. You guys, what about this? You know, I have the nerve to sit here in sweatpants and tell you how to get on Drag Race, but I would never do this on Drag Race. So I've done Drag Race 2 times. If you guys don't know, maybe you only know me from YouTube. A lot of people only know Katya and I from Bold and the Beautiful or whatever. I was on season 7 of RuPaul's Drag Race. Look at this incredible pull. I'm sure whatever video or picture Nick picks, I look incredible. Or me on All Stars 3, which again, I'm sure I look great and I've done an incredible job. So I'm not gonna tell you how to do the best on Drag Race. I'm really just gonna talk to you about how to sprinkle what I would consider a little bit of the special sauce on your application, right? So when I was making my audition tape, it was about 2013, I think, when I said, all right, I'm gonna do this next year. I had just gotten fired from the makeup counter, as you guys know. I remember thinking, all right, now that you lost your job and you feel crushed, there's no reason you don't have the time to put into really making a solid audition tape for this program, right? It was like September. I got a Sony Handycam at the Best Buy. This is crazy, but I knew it was gonna be a big lift. I knew it was gonna be a lot of interviews, questions. I knew I was gonna need a lot of looks, a lot of footage. So I just started taping everything. If I was doing a show, I would run it while the drag queen was on stage, you know, barely blind drunk, being like, up next, we have this girl from, you know, like, you know, whatever the drag queens are saying. I remember this one drag queen used to always say, she's your baby sister, she's my baby sister, she's everybody's baby sister. And I like never got that. Maybe it's because I'm from the country, everybody thinks I'm inbred. That's okay. They would be announcing me, Trixie Mattel, and I would run out in the audience in my outfit. Imagine me ducking, like, hi, this is my camera. Can you just tape this? And I would give it to some drunk guy to hold the camera, like, and film me. And then after my number, I would walk out and take my camera and go backstage. I mean, I was handing this camera to strangers left and right and being like, can you film me? Filming me walking across the street, filming me. Anytime I was in drag, I just gave it to random people and told them to film me. And Brandon, you guys, Brandon's from Milwaukee. Brandon had worked in reality TV previously. He gave me the golden rule that I asked him that if I could give you, and I'm just gonna give it to you. Film your audition, sure. Hit all the parts of it you wanna hit. They're gonna ask you to do looks, whatever. He said, treat it like the pilot to your own reality show. That is what you should be focusing on. Show your humor, be funny, show your real life. Treat the people around you as characters in the show. Talk about your real ups and downs, the things you want, the things that bother you. And then also like hit the rubric of things they want. But it's not the ACT. Like when Brandon told me when I was 23, 24, do not film the Drag Race audition tape. Film the Drag Race audition tape in the style of the pilot for your own reality show. Everything clicked. Everything clicked. Everything clicked for me. And I remember being like, I'm gonna make this tape. It's gonna be amazing. I'm gonna get on this program. When I finished this audition tape, I was like, I'm gonna be on Drag Race. Like I remember in my audition tape, you had to make an outfit out of unconventional materials. And I remember being like, well, I'm not just gonna go shopping. I'm gonna dumpster dive. So I remember there being footage of me in a dumpster looking for things to make an outfit out of. It was like, what is the most stunt version of what they're asking for? And also delusion. What is delusion? Imagining good things for yourself that seem out of reach. Like that's how I always perceive like delusion is like, this is what's accessible to me within reach and I want what's beyond reach. Is that delusion? I don't think so. This tape is a lot of work. You have to think of it as your first big challenge. It takes weeks. It takes a lot of work. Making this audition tape was the first time I'd ever recorded and edited a video. It was kind of accidentally what gave me the bug to do any videos for myself was making this video. I loved it. Before you start filming your incredible tape that will absolutely get you on Drag Race, we should touch on a few technical things. things. Now, casting will probably tell you, we don't care if it's just a gritty video. We don't care if it's just your iPhone. Yeah, sure, but wouldn't you rather it look great? Wouldn't you rather light yourself in drag to look the most beautifully? The shorthand of that is front blast. Like, imagine you standing in your grandma's living room in front of a bay window where there's so much light hitting you that everything is flattened out. We're actually gonna do an upcoming video for like the public service of the world, which is how to light a drag queen. So that's coming, and I'm gonna show you and everybody who employs drag queens, this video will be a reference to all of you. So my dream is that once I make this video about how to light drag queens, there will never be another incident again. So you're all fucking welcome, because I've been the receiver of so many of those incidents and I'm fucking tired of it. YouTube Hollywood Reporter, oh my God. Nick just gave me 4 good keywords: bright, big, soft, and head on. You do not want side sources when you're in drag. You do not want overheads. You do not want upshots. You want the Oprah lighting. You want the view. You want the RuPaul lighting. And I'm telling you, basically create a wall of light. Remember in COVID when the stand-up comedians were doing drive-in theaters? That's the lighting you want. An army of vehicles with their headlights on you. Like, that's what you want, honestly.
With a softbox.
With a softbox. So maybe somebody's running by with a cheesecloth. Being lit the best and being heard the best makes everything else so much better. You guys, we just did a video at the Trixie Motel and we sat under the air conditioning. When I watched the video compared to our normal audio, which is so crisp, I was like, damn, what a difference. I almost think audio matters more than video when it comes to making a video. You don't have to buy tons of things. You guys are so much better off than I was 12, 15 years ago or whatever. Phones take incredible video. And phones take great audio. Literally using a phone on voice recorder as your mic. Beautiful audio. Turn the AC off, make sure it's private. Try not to have everything too echoey. This room's not great, but don't worry, I'm not a professional content creator or anything. My other pro tip from Trixie, start yesterday. I know this sounds crazy. The day I decided I might audition, I started filming everything. That way, when the casting started and I downloaded like the application and it was all the things I needed to do, I already had hours of footage. Because what you don't want, let's say you're a drag queen, what you don't want is closets full of looks that you've worn over the years. And then when you have to audition for Drag Race, you gotta spend a day in front of a ring light, putting them all on and walking around your living room. Wouldn't it be better to have footage of you in drag in these looks working? There's the spotlight, there's the audience, there's something real about it. Like, start filming now. You never know what video footage you might need later. And make sure you film every look, every performance, everything interesting that happens in and out of drag. Let's say you have a boyfriend and it's your birthday and it's like footage of you having like a family event. You never know. What if in your audition later, you talk about your boyfriend means so much to you? It's a better video for you to have footage to throw to, you know what I mean? Now, this next one is gonna piss you off because if you've auditioned for Drag Race before, you know that when you audition again, they will say, please do not use old footage. What they don't want is people submitting the same tape every year, which is what drag queens would do because we're grifters and liars. But I'm gonna say something that's gonna change you forever. If that footage didn't get you on last year, why are you using it this year? Right? Let's move on to the actual application. So this is kind of a checklist in your mind in a way of what you can expect them to ask for. And this is just based on my experience, and I Googled the latest application yesterday. So what you can expect is paperwork. If you ever got a new job and you have to do icebreakers, it's that times a million. You're gonna have to give basically an overview of your life. Your name, your age, where you live, what's your family like, what's your life like, what does your drag scene think of you, how did you get started, your drag family, are there any drag queens in your community that you know, that you're close with, because you never know what they're auditioning. Be prepared to talk about your influences, your dreams. Again, it's not just content, it's not the ACT. Everything about this tape is an audition for your star power. It doesn't actually matter that you are the funniest or the prettiest or whatever. Do you have compelling like star power? It's important to also, like Brandon taught me this when I auditioned, he's like, don't like think of your tragic backstory, but think of the levels of your life. If you also are a competitive ice skater, that's fucking cool. Make sure you include that. If you also are a twin, or like, what are the cool or different parts of your life? Because when we're making a 44-minute television show, we're gonna need to get to know you as a character in a few sentences. And I hate to say, but it's like, I'm, you know, Tony Baloney from Arkansas, and I'm the ice skating diva of, you know, like that truly becomes you. It's important to construct that now, because later when you're doing reality TV, it's gonna be really hard to keep up with some version of yourself you created for this video. You're just gonna have to be honest, because later when the shit gets real and you're on this program, program, it's gonna be a lot easier to just be what you normally are. Do not fabricate anything about yourself. I mean, be a liar because it's not your name and you're not this person, but if you're gonna say that you're fiercely competitive and then later you're not, that's like a problem for everybody. That's a problem for storytelling, that's a problem for you. Like the audience will be confused by that. Like construct yourself as a reality character, but using only the parts that came in the box. There's a reason why this show has sound. There's a reason why we see drag queens out of drag. It's really not a dog show. We're not just looking at drag. This is a reality TV program. All right, so in your audition tape, in addition to doing a big, basically questionnaire, you're also gonna have to include lip sync performances to different songs, celebrity impersonations, a lot of interview out of drag as well as in drag. So it's important to, cultivate your look out of drag. I'm not saying fabricate it, but represent yourself well. Like when I auditioned for Drag Race, I was doing this little Barbie thing, but I dressed like a fucking farmer. But that's really who I am. So that's really what I did when I got on TV too, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to do a runway montage. I mean, I think it's something like 10, 15 looks. You're gonna have to show a lot of outfits, hair. On one hand, I would say showing them a lot of variety is good. But on the other hand, having a really clear-cut brand, I think is more important, personally. I don't know, I think sometimes in drag, being a true chameleon who disappears into every look can create an identity crisis because it's well, who are you then? But if you're some girl who just wears blonde hair and pink outfits in every look, that's also gonna look really, looks like your depth is a little not deep. You're gonna look like you don't have a lot of dynamics. Oh, something else I noticed, when some of these casting directors were talking about Drag Race, they were talking about how many people audition and their snatch game is a YouTube makeup person. So stop that, because they said that they're A, all the same, and B, not good, so don't do that. But I'm obviously not an expert at celebrity impersonations. The only celebrity I'm good at doing is myself. Also, these runway looks, sometimes they're gonna ask for best drag or a nude illusion. They might ask for different genres of stuff, when you're auditioning. So that could be part of it. But if I remember correctly, it was very just show what you want. And if you're me and you're broke in Milwaukee, it was a limited range. I mean, I was showing the finest thrift stores of Milwaukee thrown onto a body that was in no way mannequin-like. So they're also gonna want you to make some stuff. So if I remember correctly, an audition video, they might make you sew something, show looks you made, construct something out of unconventional materials, or make something in a time crunch. So be expected to make something. Not everybody has to be great at making stuff, but I think it's fucking crazy to audition for Drag Race and not be able to sew, right? Right? Can we all agree, right? Okay, good. Don't forget, a big part of your interview, and I think the most important part of this Drag Race audition tape is the personality, you out of drag. Don't forget, you spend a lot of time on Drag Race, not in drag. Who you are out of drag, what you look like, what you talk like, your point of view, the way you construct sentences, the character you kind of land as is very important. It seems like the most important part of auditioning for Drag Race would be my hair and my looks and my snatch game, whatever. I would tell you, through no qualifications of my own, I think it's your personality. I think it's your personality in drag, your personality out of drag. What are you really like when something good or bad happens? What can we expect you to make sense of it in an interview chair? Because it's a reality program and we are nothing without narrators of the situation. The person in the chair who can create a fun button on a scenario where they can be a little catty and leave a little blood on the floor but not make it a massacre every time. This is really important. But I'll also say this, if that's not you, that's also okay, because again, authentic matters. RuPaul put this quote in here that I need to read to you. So this article is from backstage.com and I read this for you guys. RuPaul says, when you audition enough people, you realize everyone does the exact same thing. They behave in the way that they think I want them to behave. Let that sink in. What RuPaul is saying here is a lot of times when people audition, they're doing a version of themselves that they think we want them to do. And RuPaul explicitly says here, but the people who stick out are the ones who are authentic and really just being themselves. There's nothing more boring than someone who's putting on a face that isn't authentic. Which honestly, be fun, be exciting, but not in an unrealistic way to yourself. Do you know what I mean? If the truth is, in the interview chair, you're just somebody who's just yeah, that was crazy. That's so much more compelling than performing what you think a reality TV interview is. I feel like this only comes with age, which is why I think sometimes the really young drag queens get in the headlights and they're oh my God, I'm not ready for what it really means to sit here and just be yourself. I thought it was really interesting that when I researched from these casting directors and RuPaul, what they've said about casting, they don't say anything about what kind of outfits and hair or nothing. They talk about your personality and the honesty with which you present it. So another point I want to hit is persistence. So I read this kind of quote a lot from different parts of casting. You've heard of people like Violet auditioning for the first time at 21 and winning Drag Race. And then you've heard of people like Thorgy. I think Thorgy said on TV that she auditioned like 8 times or something. So they talked about persistence. They said that if you don't get on, a lot of times they like remember people's names and they will look forward to their audition tape next year because then they're interested in growth. Like they actually, when it comes time to casting, will be like, I wonder what so-and-so's doing. I hope she auditions this year. She was so good last year, which is very illuminating because obviously they can only pick a dozen people or so, but so many people were almost that dozen and you never know if it was you. And unless you're Katya and you get a call from casting, let's call her, call Brian McCook. Yeah, I got her real name in my phone. I don't care.
Hi, what's up?
I'm doing this video about how to audition for RuPaul's Drag Race. You, casting directors called you and said, are you auditioning this year, right?
Yeah.
And you said no or what?
I was like, well, I wasn't going to. And they're like, they said without saying you should do it because you know, I've read between the lines, you know what I mean?
Some of the casting directors were talking about it and they were saying like, one of the things they were talking about was if someone doesn't make it one year, they like look forward to seeing them audition the next year.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what happened. And thank God I didn't get on season 6. I would have gone home second.
Well, you almost went home second in season 7. Does that help? Okay, thank you. Oh, do you have a tip? Give the kids a tip.
A tip of what?
How to get on Drag Race.
Don't smoke in bed. That's my tip.
Okay, bye.
Hello, Trixie's YouTube audience. As some of you may know, following the launch of the From Trixie and Katya collection, this past holiday season, I swiftly and uncharacteristically launched a 15-step coup that resulted in me ousting Trixie from her throne and seizing control of the Trixie Cosmetics empire. As your newly reigning overseer, in an act of noblesse oblige, I have a special gift for you, my loyal subjects. Head to TrixieCosmetics.com now and use code GIFT50 at checkout for 50% off all items in the From Trixie and Katya collection. That's GIFT50 for 50% off everything from our holiday collection. But act fast. Trixie's forces are at the gate and I anticipate we only have 24 hours left before they find the key to these handcuffs and physically remove me from the radiator in her office. Thank you all and God save the Queen.
So now we're moving on to some of the actual boring stuff. I'm not a lawyer, and there are plenty of other videos on here with real lawyers who look at the Drag Race casting contract and talk about it. I am however many years in this industry and still can barely read a contract. I see the word whereas and I just lay down and go to sleep. I can't read anything. There's a huge legal agreement. And I will say, when you submit this audition tape, you are already pre-agreeing to what happens if they cast you. Just know that. I think any of us who want to go do Drag Race are pretty okay with playing the game, right? But something I was thinking about is when you audition for RuPaul's Drag Race, you are applying to begin a potentially long relationship with a studio, with a production company. You are already agreeing to what things you might have to do years ahead from now. Because there are certain things in the clause, like you have to do press. I just think it's interesting to at least this, for a lot of us drag queens, most of us don't even get paid in a way where the government is reporting taxes. Like most drag queens, before they get on Drag Race, it's a cash economy, it's cash in hand. We don't even have bank accounts. So to go from that to signing definitely what will be the first and biggest binding legal contract of your life, it's just worth noticing. I'm not saying you need to hire lawyers and be that smart. I don't think any of us did. It's worth perusing. You know, one of the things I signed, you're not supposed to be able to use your audition tape for anything else. Like I think World of Wonder owns your audition tape, which is why you will never see me show it on my YouTube channel. A lot of drag queens show it. And I think they probably show it and just don't ask for permission. And honestly, who cares? But if you're me and you're kind of a goody-goody, and again, going back to building a long relationship with a production company, there's just things in this contract that you might want to know. Again, I'm not saying these things are going to get nasty and crazy. In my experience, the worst thing that's happened to me, I get a call being like, hey, did you know when you did this, it kind of technically violates this. Just want to give you a heads up. It's, in my experience, never been malicious and crazy. But when you're like a barely literate crossdresser, you're not a lawyer. And the truth is you don't really know what you're signing. It's worth the perusing. All right, so next we're actually going to get beyond the application. This last section is going to be about what you're agreeing to, what you can expect if you actually get beyond this audition. So when I auditioned, I remember getting an email saying, when can we set up a call to talk to you? And I got a story producer who asked me questions about my life, my career. It was like an hours long conversation. I talked about my family I grew up in, where I'm from. I think I was the first queen from Wisconsin. You guys know me, I talk about Wisconsin all the time. In my audition tape, I was in drag in the Milwaukee public market asking strangers what their favorite thing about me was. Nobody knew who I was and no one had an answer. But I did that all day in drag. So like, I don't know, my approach was so crazy, you guys. I remember one of the requirements was doing runway. I went to the Value Village on North Avenue in Milwaukee and I did runway in the thrift store until they kicked me out. They told me I was dressed inappropriately. I was in lingerie, but still I had the drag body on. Homophobia. Pretty sure I took the bus there. I should not have been taking the bus in drag as much as I did. That was crazy. I want you guys to think about the physical and time investment of what you're doing. In auditioning, what you're saying is, I'm willing to invest the time it's gonna take to film Drag Race, the time it takes to get a package ready, which if you had the resources I had, it's $500 in 2 weeks. Like I did not have the time or money to be prepared what I was doing. Also, the headspace. Like I think packing for Drag Race was as stressful as Drag Race. Packing for the unknown. When I finally got cast, I remember them sending me a rundown of all the looks I would need. For example, them saying you're gonna need a Shakespeare look. They don't tell you if it's for Shakespeare, an acting challenge, or if it's for a runway. You're making looks based on like this look is curves and swerves. We need your leather and lace. Like you can't even tell if they're runways or for fake commercials or music videos. Like you have no idea. So it's this huge financial investment unless you're one of those gifted performers who makes all of your own clothes. I mean, if you're Raja or Q or something, my God, you are the best among all of us. But for most of us, it's hot gluing and dreaming, right? When I was 24, I could sew, but not enough that all my shit was so cool. And it still wasn't even when I bought it. So anyway. I'm like telling you from a place of things I would have told myself. If I could appear to myself as the ghost of Christmas future of drag like that at 2014, I would have been like, get better at installing zippers. Like I would have given myself a little more feedback. So there's a part of the audition process that I don't think was as important back when I auditioned, but now probably is, which is your digital footprint. I'm not saying having followers is important. I actually read from a casting agent one of these articles that are linked below. They don't really give a shit if you have this major following. It's okay to actually be a really fierce artist and like not really engage on the internet. That's also an interesting storyline. Think of it, right? Like be you, be the most you, but know that if you're auditioning, they're gonna Google you. So that porn you did, that social media presence you currently have, that scandal on Twitter, whatever, like all of that is going to come out. All of that is going to get globbed onto you as your story, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But the truth is, being completely honest is the best way through everything. Think about the fact that your social media is kind of your digital storefront for your character. And if they go to your social media, what will they learn about you, your life, your drag, your style, your sense of humor? Just a thought. Just a thought. So this is like my final thoughts here. I know this video was kind of all over the place, but when I auditioned for Drag Race, I remember it feeling like a standardized test where I had to prove that I was the best at everything. Because I auditioned twice. My first time, I think my focus was just on, can I look the best I can look? Can I try to seem the most good at this that I can seem? But that's crazy because what is good? To quote one of the greats, drag is art and art is subjective. Like sitting down as an artist and saying, I'm gonna make something good is truly the pitfall of death, because what does good mean? It's not specific, it's not measurable, it means nothing. What you're gonna need to do when you make this audition video is, how can I make something that is equal parts honest and equal parts compelling? When you make this audition video, you need to sit down and watch it and go, would I order a 12 episode series of this? The impression I think a new pair of eyes would get from it, would they say, I wanna know more? Everything about your life is so much more interesting than you think, because these people are not you, right? You do not have to be the best at everything, but I think it would really be good for you to be the best at representing yourself here. Do it in the funniest way that feels natural to you. Do it in the most honest, most compelling way, where if someone watched this, they would really get you, because they're basically ordering you from a catalog. These people will not meet you until you end up in the workroom. It is very important that you make honest promises about what will show up in the package when you get there. Now, some concessions I want to include at the end here are, it's ultimately an ensemble program. It has so much also to do with who else is there. So if you don't make it, it could have so many things to do with the other people that were cast. Maybe somebody was similar. Maybe there was just nobody that you would vibe with. Maybe it's just sort of not what the season is going to be about in a way. There's a million reasons why it's not you. Your job is to just say, this is what I do. Isn't this a fun 10-minute version? Look into what I do, whatever. This is truly your only job. I just want to give a disclaimer as well. These are my tips. I'm not a casting director. I don't work for Drag Race. I don't work for Paramount. I am not in charge of you. Grain of salt. But I would say your job is to make a tiny package that has the strongest flavor and scent of you that is potent. And that way, if you get chosen, you can be like, I'm not even nervous on the first day because I showed them my bullshit and they liked my bullshit. You know what I mean? Be your main character, really make it as like your own reality show pilot in mind and see the vision. Like when I was auditioning for Drag Race, I was at these Goodwills buying these plastic Barbie lunchboxes and envisioning myself on lunchboxes. I believed in my own shit. I just really made it being like, this shit is cool. I'm so cool. It's not trendy, but believing in yourself is not like punishable by death. Maybe you are fucking cool. And maybe a huge barrier to you presenting that you're cool is just believing it. This is your fucking video. Be proud of it. And it sucks. Making the video sucks. Auditioning sucks. But I just feel like you owe it to yourself. If you have any inkling to just audition, just do it. Who cares? If you don't get it, you don't lose anything. You don't lose anything. That's great. So whether or not you're auditioning for Drag Race, again, no affiliation, or you're just a person in the world, I hope some of these principles can kind of illuminate you a little bit because I think it carries over. Your shit is fierce. You are fierce. That's it. Bye.